What is going on, Aztec Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Sons of Montezuma podcast. 2025 is here. The Aztecs football season is now upon us. It is game week, and I got my death whistle, Fiend. I don't know what it sounds like on your end, but on my end, it sounds
pretty annoying.
Yeah,
like my whistle, like a fiend whistle.
What's going on, Fiend? Welcome to the show.
You got the right music this time.
I had to update.
Doing well, man. Football is back. Aztec football is back. Yes, or is it? Are we back?
Oh. Well, I know we're back. Hey, I said it last week. Happy birthday to sonsofmontezuma.com. I think I undershot myself. I didn't age myself correctly. I think we're looking at 5 years on the website. So, hey, we've been very busy. Thank you guys for joining the stream. Definitely check out sonsofmontezuma.com right now. We've been churning out a lot of articles. A big thank you to Ted McGovern this morning for putting out our preview article yesterday. And then Ken Abel's putting out an article today. We'll get into all the different topics at hand, but we're in full swing right now, Fiend. It's game week. Stony Brook is here, traveling all the way across the country. We'll get into all that as well. And of course, the depth chart. Once the real games start, everybody wants to see, okay, what's the pecking order? What's up with the two deep? We'll get into all that as well. Okay, but first, as people are making their way into the stream, it was week 0, Fiend. It was week 0. I don't know if anybody really paid attention like we did. I know I was watching games and, some good, some bad, some ugly. But it just got things prepared, just laying the groundwork, getting things ready for football season. The NFL still got another week. College football is going to take over this weekend again, week 1, Labor Day weekend, all that good stuff coming up. So, hey, we're in full swing. Like I said, let's get into a couple of things, a couple sights and sounds, though, Fiend, because there was a lot going on with week 0, right? So let's take a little look. I don't know if you guys saw Kansas State, Avery Johnson's dad and his other son fighting after the loss. Dude, how embarrassing is that? I mean, come on. I don't care what the result is this weekend, Fiend. Like, if the Aztecs somehow drop an FCS, I don't want to see this going out of Snapdragon leaving the stadium, dude. I don't want to see this.
Yeah, no, I definitely a pretty embarrassing sight for both of. I didn't realize that was a dad and a son until later, and pretty embarrassing to be in Ireland. I think they were at. And they were rolling on the ground in like mud, like next to a puddle of water. It just no, don't do that.
Don't do it. A puddle of mud. Yeah, man. The weather out there is rather depressing at times, and they lost. So you travel all that way to see your team lose. Hey, family matters are family matters. Keep that mess at home. So, hey, all right. Week 0. But there was some good news in week 0, dude. There was actually some good sights and sounds that we saw in week 0. And that leads me to, well, the Islands were going to be out there. Now, I don't remember. I didn't mean to go back there. I don't remember the kicker's name. I do remember you sharing with us the story, though, that he learned to kick. He's from Japan, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And he learned how to kick by watching YouTube.
By watching YouTube videos. That's amazing. I mean, freaking awesome. And he hits a game winner. That was really exciting ending, and just the performance. If you want to not just talk about the kicker, but the performance by the quarterback, the all-star quarterback, that they brought in, who's from Hawaii and highly recruited and injured during the game, and then to gut it out and to bring his team, lead them to a victory. Amazing.
Ohio, and there he is in Hawaii, dude. Booting game winners. Micah, I want to pronounce his name correctly. Alejado. Micah Alejado was the quarterback for Hawaii. And we talked a little bit about them last week, right? Their situation with the football stadium, all that good stuff. Of course, we're going to be out there. So, hey, week 0, they were favored to beat Stanford. They were actually favored. Stanford is really low.
They're terrible.
Really low.
Terrible. Yeah, so I'd be surprised if Stanford won any games this year.
Wow, that's brutal.
They got to play
Well,
San Jose State too. I don't see them beating them.
oh, dude, that sounds like a fun game there in the Bay, Silicon Valley War. A lot of Teslas in that. Well, maybe not so much anymore. We'll have to talk about Teslas in some point in this episode. All right, moving on.
Now, but Byron Leftwich, do you remember when he got injured for Marshall and he threw a pass downfield and the lineman had to carry him down the field on the winning drive? Like that's really what it reminded me of, because he could not put any pressure on that right leg after getting rolled up. It was a hip drop tackle that injured him, and it was just really amazing performance to be able to bring them, to a victory despite playing a pretty bad Stanford team.
Hey, a win is a win, especially against that
They will take wins, right? Anyone.
At SDCCU Stadium, man. Look at that beauty. Used to pack the place out for games like what we're going to experience on Thursday, Fiend, FCS opponent. This was like that perfect opportunity to get the place just jam-packed with San Diegans, a sea of San Diegans there in SDCCU, Qualcomm, Jack Murphy, all that good stuff. So that's what you're seeing right now, man. I mean, it was an extraordinary annual tradition that we've said goodbye to for various reasons. Like I said, thank you to Ken Abels for writing that article. The Red and Black Rewind series is what we're doing, and he's bringing up historical elements of doing it anymore at Snapdragon Stadium. So
I miss Sky's show so bad.
Now that was a beautiful scene, but look at this, unbelievable.
Was that 4th of July?
No.
At the Bay?
No, this is Sky Show. The guy's like freaking out. It reminds you of the Big Bay Boom, right?
Wow,
this is incredible. Carry on. You almost wish that they would do that before the football game, dude, because that gets your adrenaline going so much. I mean, listen to that crowd.
You get butts and seats quicker too.
Oh man, they want to be there for that. I remember those games, you would get those people that would tailgate for like the whole first half.
Yeah.
And then second half.
Right. They come in the second half. Yeah.
Everybody's making
you'd
the Imperial
see
Death
the stadium fill up like in the third quarter, fourth quarter. Everyone's positioning for those great seats up top.
But it was great, it was something almost, and I put it on the post. It was like it was almost something that were like San Diego State. It was like just a generous gift to the community to get everybody together, right? When football wasn't going to be enough because you're playing a cupcake team or just a team that's not really going to do much locally. Everybody from the whole county would come together for this thing. I mean, it was such a family fun and very low cost ticket, right? So miss those things. I miss those little tidbits, right? Just those little gifts.
Can we do a fireworks show at our tailgate?
Not if you want to come back the next home game. Yeah. But I did see some good bounce back while we're not doing this. Cost wise, the development is beginning to start at San Diego State West, the campus and all that stuff. So one can only dream, right? One can only dream. All right, moving along. Awesome.
I still love the music too that they play.
Now, this tweet, I had to put it out there. Big shout out to Law Street Brewer. Of course, we know him very well. At JD Wicker, it's time to retire number 19 from the Aztecs, right? NCAA all-time leading rusher, two-time Mountain West Conference champ, three-time first team All-Mountain West, two-time Offensive Player of the Year, three-time team MVP, 4 bowl appearances, and 54 games played, never missing not one. Of course, that is one Donnell Pumphrey. And number 19 is still out there, man. Still out there on the team being used.
It needs to happen. Fans want it. He deserves it.
Hmm.
I don't know why they don't do it.
And even if you don't retire the number, like you say, nobody ever can wear it ever again. At least you designate it to somebody who you think is worthy. And maybe okay. I just watched America's Team on Netflix. Right, I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan, guys, but if
Oh, I
you
love
guys
that.
are,
I love it.
definitely
Yeah.
watch it. It was
Oh,
tremendous.
it's awesome. Yeah.
The Ring of Honor, man. Maybe when you have something like that, some type of Ring of Honor, to where you can designate the name, the number, the years they played. Boom, it's up there. Okay. Maybe you don't give that number 19 out there so gingerly, but if they're up to the caliber, give it a shot. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you on that.
All right, moving along, because we got to get going. Okay, that's a good time. SonsOfMontezuma.com. Save 15%. You guys see the promo code up there. 15% off using the code Monty. It is game week, Fiend. The Aztecs against the Seawolves. The Seawolves, right? Now, from what I understand, Fiend, these guys are coming from New York. And they're coming from, well, Manhattan's an island, but they're coming from Long Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
So technically, would that make these guys?
Cause I'm an island boy. I'm an island boy. I'm just island boy.
Oh my lord!
Island boy.
Is this what the Seawolves are gonna be bringing? Fiend.
I hope someone takes their helmet off on the sideline. They look like that.
Look at these dudes. I mean, I don't really give into all this streamer nonsense. I know these dudes are they're off their rocker. But yeah, Long Island, not representing yourselves too well.
I've actually been on that campus. I went to a graduation there. I don't think I told you that.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Okay, you know what? I don't care if you've been there or not. We were playing here in San Diego, and you know what time it is, Fiend? You know what time it is? What we got to do? We got to make sure that this turf is looking pristine. I think it's a good time for a turf report. What do you think, man? I think it's a good time for a Snapdragon turf report.
Okay. It better look good. It's the beginning of the season. It better not look like a sandbox.
Nice turf report. Looking good.
Who is that? Barry Hope?
There you got it. We got the thumbs up. Look at that turf, man. It's beautiful.
It looks good, yeah. I was watching some videos from last season with the it's crazy, like looking at it was a sandbox.
It was a sandbox.
It was terrible. It was the worst conditions I've ever seen at a college football game. So hopefully they got it under control this year.
I was taking photos last season, and you could literally see the sand and the dirt just kicking up from their heels as they were running in the photos. It was crazy. But yeah, we got a pretty good turf report this week. Thumbs up.
Good.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see what.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, gotta keep it that way. All right, enough with the silliness. It's game week, Fiend. Now the depth chart came out, and I didn't really see any surprises. I didn't really see any big surprises. I'm sure maybe something caught your eye, but I think overall, when you do look at the depth chart, and props to Kurt Kenny for putting that out there to the masses on X, Twitter, definitely go check that out. Let's run through a little bit. All right. Now, the defense, we knew everybody was coming back. All the starters were coming back. They were returning. But on this Aztecs team, they bolstered up some areas. Of course, brought in a couple guys in the secondary, brought in a couple guys, linebackers, and a couple guys on defensive line. So just wherever you can get in, plug in some depth holes there. And I think they did. Time will tell if they kind of solved. I think last week we tapped into the running, stopping the run game difficulties on the defensive end. I think multiple factors went into that. We talked about how they were on the field a lot. The offense putting them in tough positions, backing them up. But when you look at that front four, um, I did raise a little eyebrow just to see Sam Benjamin in there, seeing Malachi Fanal in there. I think he's the transfer from Hawaii, I think. So, anyways, other than that, I know we tapped into Krishna Clay coming in there, stepping up his game as a junior. Of course, you got Trey White on one end, and then Brady Nassar on the other end, who I believe is also gonna show a little something this year. Any thoughts on that front four? I don't know if this depth chart is like ironclad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is game one. It's Stony Brook. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, obviously Trey is a absolute stud. I think Brady has some real promise there. Malachi Fanal, he made some plays during fall camp along with Krishna Clay. So a good 1-2 punch there. And honestly, I don't really know that much about Sam Benjamin. I know he's a transfer. He's a big guy, 6'5", 290. And then you got Tivis Tuiati. He's transferred from, is it Colorado State? Was that Nevada, Colorado State? So
I can't remember.
that's probably my biggest question mark is right up the middle, that nose tackle. And that was a big problem area last year for stopping the run. So we'll see. Maybe, hopefully they can shed blockers and they can not get pushed back 3, 4, 5 yards like we saw, last year. They're consistently just getting knocked back. And so they, those guys can hold their own up front. We've got a good shot to limit the plays against us in the run.
To answer Paul's question, surprised that Krishna Clay is not a starter. I was a little surprised, but I think this is probably going to be a little bit of a committee, especially on that interior. Yeah. He's still a young dude coming into his junior season. I have big expectations for him personally, but I think that there's going to be a little bit of a show and tell. We'll see how
those guys get rotated in and out too. I mean, you get tired quick on that defensive line. So really, you need to have a 2-deep system. Yeah, on the defensive line, because guys are going to be rotating in and out. So, but I like what we have. I think we're going to be better than last year. I think for sure we're going to be better than last year.
Going into linebackers, I don't think there's any surprises there. We're looking at Owen Chambliss, Tano Latuli. Of course, you got Mr. Williams and Brady Anderson there in those reserve roles. Of course, that's also going to be a little bit of a rotation depending on the packages and all that good stuff. It's about what I suspected.
Yeah, DJ Herman named captain. I mean, good for him. Yeah. We saw him make some plays at FanFest. So 5 solid linebackers for those 2 spots.
Yeah, very excited for those 2. And then in the secondary, this is the big one, right? Because you got five guys back there at the Sam safety. Eric Butler, as you guys can see on the screen. Hopefully you can zoom in on that just a little bit. The left corner is Chris Johnson. Of course, 2 seniors right there, Eric Butler, Chris Johnson, seniors. The Bullet is a strong safety that I believe that they're calling it. The Bullet. That's Dalasan Staley, the junior. And then you got the free safety, Dwayne McDougal, and you got Deshaun McEwen backing him up there. That was a little surprise for me.
It's Dwayne. It's Dwayne McDougal or Deshaun McEwen. So
I see that
no one was named, the starter.
And that can change, right? A good week of practice. This was put out earlier. I want to say Monday, right? First thing Monday or Sunday. Right. And then you got the right cornerback, Bryce Phillips, as well. Big year expected from him. So they definitely brought in a couple guys. Of course, we talked about Josiah Cox there as a safety. So he's going to get a lot of run as well. So, hey, the more depth, the better.
There's some guys on that secondary that are not on the 2 deep that could see some playing time. For sure. I mean, especially if, you go up against a team that runs a spread offense and they've got 5 wideouts on the field. I mean, you're going to see more cornerbacks back there, and safeties. So,
okay, let's switch over to the offense really quickly as we look at that left tackle spot. We got Big Joe Borjon, 6'8", 338 pounds. They have him listed at now. Did the dude get bigger?
I don't know, but I thought he So has he always been the left tackle? I thought he got moved to right tackle, or was it the other way around
Might have been the other way
because of the
around.
injury?
Might have been the other way around, but you know what we saw in practice may have just been for,
Yeah,
that moment or for that period of time, just to, like what you were saying, kind of favoring his knee. I think you
right.
made that point. Maybe that rest did him some good, and now okay, get back to your normal spot where they want him.
But I mean, massive 6'9", 330 Christian Jones,
Mm,
6'8", 338 left tackle Joe Bourgeon. I
bookend,
mean, bookends. Yeah,
crazy.
just pray they stay healthy.
Oh yeah, left guard Kalen Ellis, 6'5", 350, the junior transfer from Syracuse, right?
Yep,
Okay, I think that was as expected,
yep,
especially when Fincher went down. That was
yeah.
that competition. And then Bayo Kanike there as well, 6'6", 300 pounds. And then, of course, Ross Ulugalu Masuli, 6'4", 320 at the center spot, the senior. We're looking at all seniors minus Kalen Ellis. So just from that aspect alone, I've seen some talk online and, of course, within our group, just talking about the O-line. Of course, coach in his presser is always addressing it. The O-line it's going to be the focal point of this offense, as it should be.
Yeah.
If they just lean on some folks, I think we're going to see a drastic difference in this offense.
I mean, the offensive line was such a liability last year. No offense to those guys who were playing on that line and they, are coming back, but just the pre-snap penalties, all the times that we were behind the chains, it made it so much more difficult for our offense to get first downs, and so I think they looked a lot better in camp. Now, it's not an actual game with actual referees out there. So we'll see when they play against Stony Brook, but that's the hope, is that they're going to clean up that stuff and there's not going to be nearly as many penalties and guys are not going to be missing assignments either. And just going to play, more fluid as a unit. And so that's what you would expect with all these guys coming back and having guys with experience transfer in.
That experience, I think Andy pointed that out in a tweet, just the experience alone, total games played, started, all that good stuff. A pretty big jump.
Mm-hmm.
And then you move into the tight ends. Now, that was the area that I saw was really young. I think coach addressed that as well. All the coaches, they're very well aware of it, but having the boogeyman Seth Adams in there, they've talked very, very highly of him, setting the tone to that young room and really just being that almost like a just a big brother example to those guys. So hey, when you got a physical guy like that on there, that they're trying to start young and fresh, building that unit back up. I want to say Coach Schmidt and Lindley together working on those two units. So I have confidence.
Yeah. I mean, I would say on the offensive front, I would say probably the tight end would be like the weakest position, just because we have so many strengths at the other positions. And I'm not sure we have the depth that we have at other positions. But I do like, I mean, the boogeyman, he's just got a nastiness to him. And we saw that in camp with him, like pancaking dudes and getting up and celebrating. And Arthur Ban backing him up made some good plays in the passing game. And so, he's a good backup. So I'm confident in these tight ends.
Okay. Now let's move to running backs. Of course, Lucky Sutton, we all know, is going to be that main workhorse there. Of course, having Byron Caldwell Jr. and Christian Washington is something we talked about last week, so no surprises there. At the receiver spots, you got Jordan Napier, who everyone is really excited about coming back. They've spoke about it very well, Coach Lewis, and just really pointing out, hey, he put himself out there. But he decided to turn around. Valued something that was strong enough within the program and that chemistry, and we'll get into that a little bit. But then you got Donovan Brown, number 14, 6'2", 180 junior transfer, and of course Miles Kit Denton, number 20, 5'11", 195 senior transfer. So those are the three that are listed as far as in those starting position spots. Then you got their Mikey Welsh, Nathan Acevedo, that's a or backing up Napier. And you got Jerry McClure backing up Donovan Brown, and Jacob Bostic, the transfer, I want to say Iowa transfer, Texas A&M transfer from behind Miles Kit Denton. So a lot of talent there at the wide receiver spots. But I just think it's a situation where, hey, who has really carved out that timing with the quarterback in camp that I think the coaches are looking at. And hey, that'll be interesting to see who's got that timing down on certain routes that they want to accomplish. Maybe it's a week-to-week thing. We'll have to see. I think at this point, Napier's probably that one lock, and it sounds like Kit Denton is kind of at that point as well, the way the coaches are talking.
Yeah, I was really surprised with Jerry McClure not being named, starter. We don't know when with the packages that they're going to run, if they put more receivers on the field, he might be on the field. I don't know how many snaps he's going to get. Donovan Brown was not working with the ones at like the first practice that I saw. I went back and looked at some of the tape from the second practice, and I noticed he was playing with the ones. And then, he had pretty good showing at the Fan Fest, and that might have been what pushed him ahead of Jerry McClure. But I still really love Jerry McClure. I think he's just got a lot of potential there. He's a very highly rated recruit. I don't know. I don't know why he dropped down to the backup.
Well, we'll find out. We'll have to see how the performances go because everything gets real this Thursday against Stony Brook. It's a FCS team, so it's going to be an opportunity for a lot of guys to shine, to really, make a play, make a highlight play. I mean, every year we play these games. These are the games you're going to get an opportunity to get on the highlight reel. Now, that's not any disrespect to Stony Brook. It's just the facts of what it is. There's levels to this thing, and we got to go out there and prove it as a team. They need to be out there prepared to put their best foot forward. So, hey, if Jerry can make it happen, I'd love to see it. Local guy, a lot of local ties on this team. That'd be one. The question, talking about local ties and just looking at the running back position really quick before we move forward, Paul says, are these SD running backs as good as Pumphrey Penny and Juwan Washington? When it comes to those three guys, that was like a very elite class of running backs and really elite time period, right? I mean, that era.
One guy
was
drafted
just
the first round, one in the fourth round.
All-time leading rusher. I mean, you're not gonna see that. You're not gonna see that. So definitely should temper your expectations. I think Lucky is such an interesting case, though, to where I think people should be excited to see what are we really going to see with him because, he got that opportunity as a freshman to get some carries. Sophomore didn't get any opportunity. I mean, you can really dissect it, and Coach even alluded to it. I want to get into that a little bit on his last presser. He was very candid and just talking about, hey, he trusted Coop completely. And that was kind of like the open shut of the case. So he's going to get his chance, Lucky. He's going to get his chance this season, and we're going to find out if he's cut from that similar cloth of a Pumphrey Penny and a Juwan Washington. Hopefully he can, by the end of the season or his career here at State, you can say he belonged in that class, in that ilk of running back,
Yeah, and a lot of it just depends, too, on your offensive line, tight ends, and guys blocking downfield for you, to spring you open. And he is in great condition. I mean, if that's one thing that I noticed at the camp was like just how conditioned he looks. He looks strong, powerful, lean at the same time, and he's going to put a hurting on some linebackers and defensive backs for sure.
Oh yeah. Okay, well, obviously we need to talk about the quarterback situation or whatever you want to call it. I don't think there's a real situation. I think that's been figured out. But before we do that, we do want to bring in a special guest because we do have one. We talked to him last year about this time, I want to say, and we had a really, really cool conversation. Of course, he's an Aztec for life. I want to say he played from the 99 to the 2000, and he's here to make another appearance on the show. We're happy to have him. Let's bring him in, Fiend. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, everybody, welcome Jack Hawley Jr. back to the show. Let's put him in the middle. What's going on, Jack? How are you doing?
What's up, boys? How we living,
what's that
dude?
hat you wearing though, man? Ah, man, get him out
I
of here.
had to represent and
Get 'em
ruffle some
outta here.
feathers. You guys know what time it is. Don't act like you're new.
Oh, I'm too old to be new, man. Look at all this gray just coming out here.
Hey, you ain't
Look
the
at all
only one, buddy. You ain't the only one.
That's why I
What's up,
shaved.
guys?
Yeah, I can't.
Football season, dude.
I
You
can't
guys
wait.
ready?
I'm ready.
We're ready, man. We're ready.
That's
It
what's
came
up.
here. It came here fast. At times it felt slow, but we're here now. Game week, dude. Game week.
I can't believe it. Thursday's going to be here before we know it. Are we ready? You guys, I seen you guys been out to some of the scrimmages. How's the squad looking? What's the secret sauce? I'm
Good,
ready.
better.
I haven't,
I think
I'm
they're
over here in
better than last
Temecula,
year.
so I'm kind of out of it a little bit. Talk to
Yeah.
me. What are we looking like? I know I've heard some great things about Lucky Sutton. I know that. Hopefully we can get the ball to him. I don't know. How did we do in the scrimmages? Like, talk to me. What's the QBs looking like?
I will say this. The practices were open for the first 2 weeks of fall camp, and we kind of documented it a little bit to the fan base. Just talking about what we saw with the quarterback competition. Jaden Denegal is the QB1, the Michigan transfer, and he was clearing away the favorite. He was clearing away from week 1 to week 2 in camp. Like he took a big stride, and you listen to the players talk about and the coaches. He really came in with a lot of confidence. You know what I mean? Even though he had some things he had to work out, even in spring ball when he came in, that confidence factor of just being a leader, coming from Michigan, been to a national
That's the
championship.
thing, right? Coming from a program from Michigan, it's like, man, nothing's gonna be too big for him, especially I don't know how much reps or how much run he got at Michigan, but I went to the Aztec coaching clinic and there was a lot of buzz around him. Everyone was kind of whispering to kind of see what he would do. And I mean, from what I hear, he ran away with the spot. So, I mean, he's obviously doing something right, where those guys would have the confidence to name him. A lot of the coaches and the GM, they're pretty excited about the quarterback room as a total, so very athletic guys in there. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
Now, before we move on any further, just for the people watching, I know we've connected a time or two just to update people on what you got going on up there in Temecula, man. I know you're working, training, doing all kinds of different. Is it like skills training? Is that what you guys are doing?
Oh man, we opened up D1 training Temecula, man. We're rocking and rolling. We've been open about a year now. We train athletes of all backgrounds, all sports. Starting about 7 years old. Our rookie division, our Devos is like 12-year-olds. Our prep, is obviously high school kids, and we train adults too. But man, a lot of fun, being able to be a part of the community, improving, young athletes and having a, high quality facility. If you guys haven't checked us out, man, check us out. D1 Temecula. We're at the Promenade Mall. High food chain, training. So our programs, based out of Nashville. Will Bartholomew, is our CEO. He was Peyton Manning's fullback at Tennessee, and I mean, started a training, facility over 15 years ago. And man, there's 150 D1s from here to Boston. So, we got one right here in Temecula and we're doing well, able to work with some of the young quarterbacks in the area. These kids are training way different, than when I was training. The level of, professionalism on the training, I wasn't exposed to it till I got to the pros. I came from junior college, LA Harbor, and I mean, not bashing junior college, but I mean, wasn't even exposed to this kind of training. And now you got, 7 and 8-year-olds that are doing it daily. So just the level of competition and the level of athletes that are, coming out of this valley is unbelievable. High school football right here, Chaparral has probably got, 10 3 to 4 stars, numerous offers. Marietta Valley, same thing. Vista Marietta right down the street, their quarterback just took a offer from Oregon. So, I mean, yeah, high-end football, man. It's fun to be a part of.
Very cool to hear, man. Very cool to hear you doing your thing out there. I'm seeing in the comments, Temecula got some athletes.
Man, I'm telling you, I've been banging down Ryan Lindley's door and these guys to, recruit over here, man. I'm so sick of these athletes, going to Boise and Oregon, and then we play, and I'm like, he's from San Diego? Like, why isn't he in our backyard? These kids need to know about the program San Diego State has. And even, the young kids, 10U, one of our coaches the 10U Ducks, which is, if you guys know anything about, youth football, is probably one of the better programs in Southern California, and I'm in these kids' ear, 10, 11, 12-year-olds about San Diego State, and they're looking at me like they've never heard of it. Obviously, they've heard of, the Trojans and UCLA, but man, San Diego State has such a prolific, history of athletes and ball players. I just think if we tapped into our own homegrown communities, that's going to boost, obviously, recruiting and, just build a buzz around our program, man. I want to make San Diego State great again, talking to all these old school Aztecs, it's like, man, we got a great deal going. These people just need to know about it,
Yeah, Boise State, they've been grabbing a lot of the guys out of there.
Dude, they ain't the only one. These prolific programs, Oregon, Boise, big time programs, they're all recruiting San Diego, It's like, I think if these kids would stay home, I don't know. I just want to create, I'm a homegrown guy, grew up in LA, played here, understand the value of being able to hop on the freeway, go down to San Diego, check out the games, be a part of the program, the Aztec legacy and all that. Man, it's a big deal, And then topping into the NIL stuff, it's like we're losing these kids because of money. I mean, I don't know how to be a part of it. I know, that they've tapped into it a little bit, with the deal they did with the sunglass company and all this stuff. But man, it's like San Diego football is a big deal, and I'm happy to be a part of it. I want to build it up. Obviously us going 3-8 or whatever we did last year ain't cutting it. It's like, I was on this a year ago. You guys said we're going to finish 8th. I almost flipped the table over, dude. It's like 8th. When have we ever finished 8th in anything?
I remember I went back and looked at the episode a little bit, some of the little highlights of our conversation, and yeah, 8th was the projection. And I remember your reaction. How are you feeling a year later?
Reaction. I'm still pissed. It's like, man, dude, we have such a amazing product, amazing city, amazing history, and it just comes down to winning. You guys know that. So yeah. Hopefully you guys, can talk to me a little bit about the team. I haven't been around it as much as I would like. I do tap in, and obviously I follow all the little, media outlets to find out what's happening. But, I don't get to put my eyes on the practice. I don't get to see, who wins one-on-ones, or, if it's 3rd and 2 and we really need, to get a first down, who our guy Jay's looking for. I don't know. Who's he getting the ball to? I don't know. I know we got a stud defensive end. Hopefully, he could wreak some havoc and create some turnovers, but I'm just excited for football, to be honest. So when you guys ask me to hop on, dude, I'm all about it, dude. Let me know. I'll be there.
Well, we're glad to have you on, man. I know you bring that passion, that fire, that energy for the program that, we all, I think, feel it from our couches or wherever we're watching, but it's tough. I'm seeing here in the chat, the attendance in this Stony Brook game is going to be so sad. And of course, he has his thoughts on JD and should go or different things of that nature. Now, I'm not at that point as a fan, but I know it's going to be ugly on Thursday. There's no way to sugarcoat it. We talked about the Sky
What do you
Show
mean?
and
Just the attendance or what?
just the attendance. Just the attendance. It's a Thursday night. I get it. You're playing an FCS team. It's not a draw. But to me, I mean, us sickos, us diehards over here, we're gonna be there for every single game, regardless, right?
Man,
That's
been
just
waiting for it all year,
hardwired.
you know?
Exactly. That's hardwired in us. We're gonna be there.
Yeah.
Not everybody is on that level right now. Even the diehards that you would have thought would be on that level. So I don't know.
Snapdragon has lost 2/3 of its season ticket holders since it opened.
Well, why is that? Just because of the price? Obviously, the product on the field, but
It's a combination of both. Yeah, it's price and it's the product on the field. You're right. Winning will solve a lot. There were a lot of people though who were diehard season ticket holders for many years at Qualcomm that were forced to buy tickets up in Carson or they'd lose their priority points and they just said, see ya. And then when the prices came out at Snapdragon and we didn't get into the Pac-12, they're still way too high. And they've been, I know they've adjusted them downward, but they're just too high. A family of four can't afford a ticket. You know, I mean, when you're, I think on one of the other message boards, someone was comparing the ticket for San Diego State versus Boise versus I think it was Boise. It might have been another Mountain West team, but like USC versus at Purdue was cheaper for like the same, like basically seat, you know, and that's a Big Ten game, you know, and so it's a combination of both. And there's some things that the administration's got to fix, and there's some things that the team's got to fix. And I think the team is doing a really good job of they've really come together. They have a lot of unity, a lot more unity than last year that I've seen. And I think they look better on the field. And I think we're more experienced, and we should see a better product. And I'm really excited about Jaden Denegal. It took me maybe, I don't know, 10 plays, and I was like, yeah, he's the quarterback. Like, he's won the competition.
Really?
It wasn't even a competition.
Why do you say that, though? What stuck out to you, like, in particular when you're watching that kid? Because I felt the same way. I went out to a practice, you know, and, I mean, you've been around football enough. Like, some guys just got it, you know?
Yeah.
Some guys you can tell it's like they're a little different, you know?
Right.
So what makes him different? You guys have obviously been at a lot more practices than I have. Like,
I've only been to 2.
Oh, you have? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you guys
2.
were out there a lot.
I would have liked to, but they were during the day and I had to work. So only on the weekends was I able to go. But from the practices I saw, I mean, he was commanding the offense. You know, he has a really strong arm.
Well, what stuck out to me, obviously, is his athletic ability. Like, you know, obviously it stands out. Like, you know, he's a stud. He looks the part. You know, number 10 is great. I wish I could have worn number 10 when I came there, you know, at a Harbor. That was my number. But yeah,
he can deliver a deep ball, which is nice. That's my only knock on Bert Emanuel. A couple of knocks on Bert Emanuel, the backup, is I don't think his arm is as strong, and I don't think he was brought in as that type of quarterback. He's more of a running quarterback. He's going to beat you with his legs. He's going to hit like short passes. We saw a nice, you know, crossing route in the Fan Fest that went for a touch. I don't know if it would have been a touchdown, but it went for a long gain. And so that's the type short yardage situations that he is really good in. But Jaden can really sling it down the field. He's got a very strong arm. It's pretty accurate. It seemed like when he throw the throws to the boundary and to the sideline, he put it in a place only where his receiver could make a play on it, or it was, you know, out of bounds. And we've said, at least I believe, that this team really doesn't need to have the offense win the games for them. They just have to manage it well enough to let their defense win the game. Because I think the defense is the strength of this team with a guy like Trey White, with all the secondary that we got coming back. I'm really excited about our defense. And so Denegal just needs to dink and dunk it down the field, move the chains, keep the defense off the field for long periods of time, so they're not getting exhausted like they were last year and getting run over. So that's what I think.
I mean, that's the name of the offense, I think, right? That's I mean, that run and shoot offense, I listened to Dion talking about, his son Shador and taking completions, and so many completions before you know it, hey, you're out of field, So that kind of offense, maybe that's, the ticket. I mean, maybe it is a dink and dunk, 3 yards, low, completion after completion after completion, let Lucky, run the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
What's our O-line looking like? Like, what are those guys? What's coach got, with our own line dialed up? Because
Massive.
as you
They're
all
massive.
know, the D line, is pretty one of our strengths, but our O-line's massive. So are we going to be able to smash Lucky in there for 3 yards when we need it?
If they can't smash with this offensive line and Lucky back there toting the rock, I don't know what will. But we talked about it before you got on. The offensive line is massive. You got 2 bookend tackles, both 6'8", 6'9". The guards are over 320, 330. And you got a senior at center. So
we do.
My only concern.
Who's our center? He's senior leader. When I came in, we had Mike Milano, who was a senior and a leader. It's like that center position solidifies the offense. So if that guy's a senior, who is that? Because our quarterback's going to have to rely on him a lot,
Yeah, we got into that a bit last week, calling out Ross Masuli a little bit, right? Senior leader, really was a starter for most of his career here at State, but this is his year, final year, to where that accountability's got to be on his shoulders as a captain, as a center. He's got to be the one working with the quarterback to make sure those pre-snap penalties aren't a thing that we see anymore.
Right. And was he
That's got to be tight.
Was he on the squad last year where he went through those freaking losses and
He's
had
been
an opportunity to learn, and then going into his senior year, like, we can't lose games like that. Winning and losing is such a fine line, and you got to rely on those people that have been in those situations before to kind of, run the show, So if he's a center, he's going to have a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, especially for, a first-time quarterback who hasn't been in the system before, hasn't played, the teams in our league, so that leadership's got to come from somewhere.
He's been in the program 4 years. He's been a starter, I believe, 4 years. I think he opened Snapdragon as a starter against Arizona in 2022. So he has a ton of experience, and that's why he's playing the center position, because he's the smartest guy on that line, and he can read the cover. He can point out the blocking assignments and all of that. And
that's promising
on the line.
That's a promising, position for our offense that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Now, I'll push back on Fina a little bit. I don't think necessarily this team is so dominant on either side of the ball that you can say, we just got to do this and we'll be okay. We just got to do this. The defense has just got to do this and we'll be okay. Like this, I'm not promising anybody that this is going to be a 9-3 season, an 8-4 season. Like this team has still got to show improve a lot.
There was no tackling. Nothing.
Well,
there was no tackling.
Stony
at all.
Brook, dude. It's like we should beat this team 50-0. It's like, man, coming out the gate, that's why we're playing this team, to get a dub, right?
They are top 25 FCS. I'm just putting it out there. They're pretty good for an FCS team.
Bro, you want to talk about the people at the games? Let's bring back some of our rivals that we've had forever. These people that have been Aztec fans, they want to see us play BYU. They want to see big name people on our schedule. And I know that we do have some of those, around, but I don't know if Stony Brook is the answer, dude. I'm an Aztec. It's like, I mean, yeah, that's their first game. I want to get excited about the season, but I mean, could you imagine if we were opening up against BYU or, some team that has some sort of history of, battles and, brings back memories of games that have, people have watched this forever? It's like Stony Brook. I've never even heard of that.
They're the Island Boys,
That's
bro.
just
the Island
me,
boys.
dude. I'm old, so
They're the Island Boys, brother, from Long Island, New York.
really
The
cool.
Island Boys. Island.
Hey, well, we better beat them 38-0. That's all I know.
Love it. I love Jack Holly out here just spitting. Man, I'm glad that you got a chance to see for yourself and come down and watch those practices, the coaching clinics, all that good stuff, man. I know you're staying connected. Ran into you a couple times down here, right? In your mind, you say we need to schedule the BYUs, those familiar foes, to get everybody riled up from those rivalries or those past years. College football's changing, man. It is changing. It's pretty soon they're trying to make it a Big Ten and an SEC, and that's it. Everybody else on the outside looking in. But I don't think it'll ever truly get to that point. I don't. I think they're gonna try, but maybe I'm being naive.
Well, that's a lot of teams to put in 2 conferences.
It sure is. It sure is. But I don't know. You can kind of see it happening. Fiend, I'm glad you brought things back down to football when we were talking about the administration and the fan support and all that stuff. Because I feel like this team, I'm not going to give them, their credit before they do something on the field, but I really do feel that this team has the chance to grab this city's attention. They have to.
Yeah.
They have to. The potential is there.
Yeah.
No matter what the circumstances
the opportunity is there. The opportunity is there. The talent, is there. Hopefully, the coaching is there and they could just put it together, man. 38-0. First game going into conference play.
I love that.
Let's do it. How do we not do it?
All right, you guys heard it. 38-0. Jack Hawley's calling. Hey, you called Danny O'Neal being QB1 last year when we didn't even think that was going to happen. So
I sure
38-0.
I sure did, but man, where's Danny O'Neal at right now? Yeah.
Wisconsin
Wisconsin
QB2.
with a nice little freaking pocket change. I bet. I don't know what he got to go over there or the circumstances of what created that, but man, that sure was disheartening. Not to, be on a sour note, but it's like this, coaching staff brings in their guy, true freshman. We could build this program around him, 3-8, and then he bounces. Bro, that's brutal.
Hey, I'm over it. I'm past it.
Hey, but he never played at Michigan. It's like this guy we got, man, sky's the limit. He looks the part, great athlete. Hey, I'm excited about the opportunity. Let's see what he can do.
Yep. One door closes, one door opens.
100%. It's like, man, we had a great back last year, but guess what? We got a great back again this year. You guys are talking about the O-line. We have some leadership and some size, It's like, man, let's run the ball a little bit early, see what happens. Maybe play action loosens up to get the ball to that wideout you're talking about. Our defense should be pretty decent. I know that there's a lot of senior leadership in the, defensive back category. My buddy Bryce back there, got his 5th year back or whatever, seasoned veteran. If the D-line could put some pressure on these guys, get some turnovers. I mean, that's football, man. You guys know that.
Now, before we wrap things up with you, Jack, I know that this team has been talking, as Paul in the chat says, they've been talking very confidently. They're all coming across very confidently. Not, how do you say, not like, not overly confident, not to the point where they're calling their shots or anything of that nature, but it really seems like Coach Lewis's strategy after like Danny O'Neal leaving and a couple of different things, right? In his presser and throughout fall camp, you could tell like he's really trying to bring it in and creating environments to where the guys can build that brotherhood, right? Every single guy you hear on a presser or interview, they're all talking about the camaraderie of the team, how tight-knit this team is. They're playing for each other. They're not a team of me's, it's a team of we's, right? It's all about the team. And, Coach Lewis has been talking about it. I mean, he's hammering it in. It's what he's preaching almost to a point where it's like he's preaching about it, right? That brotherhood and those type of values. But now's the point where that has to mean something. It can't be all brotherhood, kumbaya, and you don't see the same results. You see the same results. There's got to be that next step of improvement. They asked him, what is he expecting to see this year? And it was simply that, improvement. Just got to see improvement. To you as a
what does
quarterback.
that mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very vague statement, but I think you dialed in, right? It's the passing game getting up to their standards. He kept throwing out that word, the standards that they're trying to build. I put the thumbnail of this episode as Aztec Fast 2.0. This really just does feel like a do-over. And the fans don't want to hear it. I don't really want to hear it, right? Last year was real. There was a lot of mistakes that happened. But this year is being treated as though it's like, okay, we got to start all over again. Moving forward, this is like year one again, implementing everything. But they're so far advanced, it's not going to be year one anymore. This team is experienced.
I hope not, man.
The thing that I've noticed about this team, too, is they feel slept on, right? They were ranked, was it 8th or 9th in the preseason?
Again,
they're
again.
So they feel slept on, and I think all of this unity that they've been building up to has really created a chip on their shoulder, and they're really ready to prove something. So,
well, I hope so. Our league is pretty legit. I mean, Boise ain't going nowhere. Last time I saw, Nevada's got a pretty good quarterback. I'm sure Fresno's got some things up their sleeve. I know UNLV is supposed to be, last chance U part 2. They're bringing in a lot of talent, down in the desert. So, I mean, this coaching staff, man, it's like they've had, opportunities to, like you said, get better. So, hey, I'm super excited to see where we're at. They've had all the opportunity to prepare in the world. This is the second year where they've been recruiting guys and bringing in their guys. So we're going to find out, boys. Kickoff, what time? Thursday night, huh? You guys going to be out in the parking lot or what?
7 o'clock kickoff. We'll be out there as early as possible.
Nice.
Hey, man, we're going to find out about this NL West. That's what we're going to find out about. We're going to see. We're going to find that out.
Hey, that's going to be fun, too, shaping up. I know you guys been going to some games. I just did Mookie Betts' camp with D1, so I got a chance to meet him. I told you guys last time, we got a relationship with the Storm, too. So the Lake Elsinore Storm, my hometown, is the Padres single A affiliate. So all the Padre guys that rehab, all those guys, they get sent down right here to Lake Elsinore. So, hey, there's been many nights, go to the game, get a hot dog, sit up in the stands, and watch the Padres' future, play out. Jackson Merrill last year was, our key guy. You've seen what he's done, with his rookie year last year going into this year. So I'm a baseball guy, too. Coming out of LA, I played football and baseball. So that's my wheelhouse. That's what we coach up. And, yeah, there's no better time of the year. Dodgers, Padres. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Jack, when are you getting down for a game? When are you coming down?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get down there, Thursday night. We'll see what's happening. I got to clean up the gym and try to get off of work as soon as possible. But man, San Diego's an hour away, dude. Believe me, I'm hopping on the 15, pedal to the metal, dude.
Yeah. Hey man, stop by our tailgate when you're down. Whenever you get a chance down there. We're in the west. We're in the south yellow lot.
100%. 100%. Yeah. What are your guys' predictions for Thursday night? Give me a score.
Oh, we'll get into that. We'll cut you loose before that. You have to watch it on air. You have to watch it on air.
Sounds good. Hey, much
love, boys. Jack.
Hey, thank you guys for inviting me on. I talk football all night long, man. Love you guys.
Anytime.
Love you guys. What you guys are doing for the community and for San Diego State. Keep the fight alive. Aztecs, run through this whole city. Temecula, there's a bunch of Aztecs, Southern Cal, there's a bunch of Aztecs. So we need to tap into that community, and it all starts with wins, So hopefully the boys could show up Thursday, put, I know how hard they've been working. So all that hard work hopefully shows up Thursday and we just start building, some positive momentum going into the season, I don't want to think about if it goes the other way, because if not, we're going to be, looking for a new coach here. As much as I would hate to see that in year 3, but it's the realest thing going, dude. You better win. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Thank you, Jack. Stop by if you can. If not, we'll do it another time. Maybe the Cal game you get down here, but definitely stop by on Thursday.
Yeah, when's Cal? The second week?
No, it's like
third,
like a month later, man.
Right.
Third week. Stony Brook to Cal. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
Let's
we got
smash
Washington
these
State.
dudes.
Washington State in between that, and I think a bye. So
Washington State, hey, they're not going to be, they're going to be pretty good.
You got some tough games up front, besides the Stony Brook game. Yeah, those first 2 games.
Well, Cal and Washington State, that's old school. That's what I'm talking about. That's old school Pac-10, where you say those names of those teams and, it brings back memories of unbelievable teams, unbelievable players. Yeah. Cal with Marshawn and Aaron Rodgers, Washington State with Ryan Leaf and, those guys, what they put together in the passing game, like, that's college football to me, bro. The history, of the players and the teams, that's what we want to be a part of. And that's what San Diego State is, So winning solves a lot of problems. We'll see how the boys look on Thursday, right?
We will see. We'll find out.
That's what's up. All right, boys. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, Jack. Have a good one.
Later, boys.
See ya. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for checking that out. Jack Hawley, of course. Always fun, man. Always fun to have a conversation with that dude. He brings it. He brings the energy.
It's always great to have a perspective from a starting quarterback, played for the Aztecs. So, yeah, I know his career didn't go as long as he would have liked it to, but he's still, is an Aztec for life, and he'll always be remembered as a starter for the Aztecs.
He was tough.
QB1.
Tough as nails. Thank you, Angelica. I got to give you your shout out there for the super, of course. Of course, our supers are open, guys. It's what we do. We are fully independent. Our 7th year, I want to say, covering Aztecs football on the pod. So definitely a big thank you guys, and appreciate you guys checking out the NIL shop, and of course, sonsomonazuma.com. Save 15% off up right there. Right there. You got the promo code. Use it. Get geared up. Fiend, Jack Hawley came in with tons of energy. Thursday night, Stony Brook. We've gone through the depth chart. We've gone through all the roadblocks of the fan base not showing up and what we think needs to be done. We've gone through a lot of different topics, dude. A lot.
Yeah.
I think we solved all the problems tonight. We solved them all.
I don't think so, but we maybe a few.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, he asked for it. I don't know. Should we give our predictions? Tomorrow, we are going to be releasing a couple articles. You guys want to check that out. A preview of the Mountain West as a whole. And then we'll be doing some predictions on how the Mountain West is going to go. Because I got all of us content creators on the team, on the Sons of Monty team, to make their predictions of the season and how you think the one-loss record is going to be. So you guys check that out tomorrow. Keep an eye open for that. Oh, what else? Do we want to give score predictions for this Stony Brook game? I'm not like really a big score prediction guy, but I'll put my neck out there on the line.
What you got?
I'm thinking we will put up some points. I think we'll give up a couple points as well, though. I don't think it's going to be 38-0 like Jack is calling. I don't think it's going to be 38-0. But I would be willing to put out there, I'll say 35 to let's give it a good 14. 35-14. I think that's fair. Anything less, well, I'll just take a win. Because I remember playing Weber State. What was it, 9-0?
6-0. Yeah, there was no offense that game. And then we turned around and beat UCLA at the Rose Bowl next week. So.
Yeah, man. You can't, these game ones are tricky. They're tricky. Yeah. I mean, I will be ecstatic if we put up 35 points. I will be over the moon if we put up 35.
I think we can. I think we can. Yeah. I think the strength of their team is their offense, especially having Roland Dempster, All-American running back, coming back, and they've got some guys on the offensive line. They've got some receivers back, and the quarterback.
He's a new quarterback.
Quarterbacks. Well, there is a new quarterback. One was a starter a couple of years ago, and then he was a backup last year, and now he's competing for. I'm not sure who's going to start, but the other one is a transfer from Hampton. So kind of like our quarterbacks, one can throw, one can run really well. I think their offense can be pretty good. So I'm gonna give them 24 points. I think they're going to put up 24 points on us. Yeah, I think they will be pretty. They'll put up some points, but I think we're going to go 38. So I'd like to see a 2 touchdown. We're favored by what?
Last I saw, I want to say like 12.5. We were favored on, or so, something around that. I'm not sure if the line has increased since then, but I want to say 12.5, that area.
Yeah, and I think we can move on their defense. So I haven't watched a ton of clip of Stony Brook, and there's nothing out there from like the preseason. So you're just kind of going based on what you've seen from guys last year and the talent they have coming back. So yeah, 38-24 is my prediction.
38-24. I say 35-14. I think those are fair predictions. Oh, man, look who just made it in there. A big shout out, T-Mac. What's going on? Greetings.
I want to know what T-Mac's prediction is. What's his score prediction?
Colombia. What's you shoot it, kick it, T-Mac. Let us know your score prediction down there before we sign off. All that good stuff. But thank you, T-Mac, for.
He said I was doing so well until he heard that prediction of mine.
That's crazy. We give up 24 points. Yeah, man. I mean, that's a lot of points. That is a lot of points to split. But I think I wouldn't be happy if they give up 24 points. But it wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised.
But if we won by 14?
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be fine. You also got to look at, when do those points come? Do they come in the second half, maybe in garbage time? You hope that that's the case, right? Yeah. These opening games against FCS teams could be very tricky, but T-Mac 35-7. That's legit. I mean, that's really hanging your hat on your defense and saying they're going to be dominant this year. They're going to shut down.
Yeah, maybe I'm giving Stony Brook too much credit, but I think they do have, good running back. They've got some good pieces there, and they definitely, those teams play up for us for sure. And they want to beat an FBS team, and we saw how much UNLV struggled last week. They were in a dogfight with Idaho State. Idaho State is not even ranked top 25. I mean, you're talking about a top 25 FCS team. They're pretty good, right? This is no Texas Commerce that we're playing this year. So, like I've said from the beginning, I've said it a couple of weeks ago, don't sleep on Stony Brook. Now, if we go and blow them out, then I'll look terrible. But, hey, at least we blow them out then.
Okay. Well, I think that's pretty safe predictions. I hope. But we'll find out on Thursday. We're gonna find out a lot of answers. But at the same time, like you said, that Washington State game, I think, is going to be the real, where we'll really be able to see a true test on the road. Stony Brook has only beaten one FBS team in their history, and that was an Army team. So, I mean, those games are quirky enough when you're playing an academy. So it's going to be a weird, interesting game. We know not a lot of people are going to be there, but guys, if you are making it out to the game at Snapdragon Stadium, we will be in the yellow lot, the grass lots along the river park. Definitely come by and say hello to the Sons of Montezuma crew. Will be out there doing our normal thing, just having a good time as early as possible. And, building community, that's what we do. So love to shake a hand, say hello, and talk some football. That's what we love to do. So coming up at 9:45, everybody, you don't want to change the dial, don't change the channel to stay here on Sons of Montezuma's YouTube. We have a new Gamers episode. So we've been talking all about Stony Brook and San Diego State in this game. Well, we actually did a simulation on EA College Football 26. We did a simulation. The Gamers crew ran it through, and they'll be there to join you guys with a little bit of fun commentary, talking about some more football in this game that they simulated between Stony Brook. Did you know Stony Brook, they're not even on EA, the video game, but somebody took the time to create Stony Brook, the Seawolves, plugged in a roster. I'm sure the guys will tell you all about it, but that's coming up at 9:45 here on Sons of Montezuma's YouTube channel. So check that out. And we got plenty more articles coming up this week. And very excited, very excited. Thank you to everybody who's also hit me up as far as helping us out in photography and all that good stuff. So really excited for that. Fiend, feeling all right? We jacked up for Thursday?
I'm ready. Put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Did Jack Holly jack us up?
Give me Andy's helmet. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining the stream, joining the chat, all your supers, all your trash talk, your compliments, and everything else you guys bring. Sons of Montezuma, another year of football. I think we're on day 200 of James' watch. We're trying to find him. So hopefully we'll get him after this first game. I think that'll be a treat. So, all right, everybody, go check out sonsofmontezuma.com. Go Aztecs, beat those Sea Wolves, beat Stony Brook.
Go Aztecs.